Hi, welcome back to part two. Again, John and myself are going to look forward to all the weekend's action. So, boys, we take on Montpellier down the south of France. You're heading over, John?
Woohoo! Can't wait. Counting the seconds.
I'd say you are. Both clubs currently...
wife.
Both clubs currently second in their respective leagues, and we've played them only twice in our history, one victory each, so fairly even Stevens.
I think you'll find that's inaccurate.
Is it?
I think you'll find we've played them twice in our history, and we are unbeaten.
We
Draw and win.
16
Draw,
points
that's it.
all draw in November 2011. After
And the
World Cup.
ERC website is wrong.
It
Must
is.
be.
If you remember, a bionic thrust from Sean Cronin and
I
a
remember
touchline
that.
conversion from Johnny Sexton led to Gorgodze
Punching the hell out of the...
giving the
Actually, it was one of the second rows who punched the post, because I was there at that one as well, and we were in the bar after, and they kept re-showing that on French television.
Wasn't
where
it
the guy
Gorgodze?
punched- No, it wasn't Gorgodze. No, it was one of the second rows. Anyway,
I mean, he did give it loudly, as they say in
he
Scotland.
did. He did. Our lacquery, as they say in Ireland.
Well, we heard today that question marks over Sexton's fitness, question marks over Tyke Furlong's fitness, and definitely Reece Ruddock is out,
Yeah.
but Sean O'Brien is available for selection.
So
Of those
swings
players,
and roundabouts, very much
of those players,
snakes and daggers.
snakes and daggers. I wouldn't like to upset the apple tart, but I would have to say that at this stage, I'd rather have Furlong fit than Sexton
Yes.
going to the south of France.
Yes.
Obviously, I want them both, but if I could only have one of them, it'd be Furlong rather than Sexton.
I concur with the elderly gentleman to my left.
Having said that, I think it might be a little scary to see Cathal Marsh trot on at 70 minutes, but
Scarier for them, he's a ginger.
yeah.
They're not used to that in France.
But anyway, we didn't see as last week. Your man who arrived back, Nandolo, we didn't see him back in the game against Montpellier or against Northampton. So I don't know, will we see him? They seem to be tripping over wingers though, and fullbacks and back three players. They seem to the list. They've about 10 or 15 of them. So and they're all good. Apparently Jesse Mogg might be back, but
He
your
is
man
good.
Benjamin Fall is out.
Yeah.
Fall out. The nuclear option. So we.
God, I can see where your wife is counting on seconds already.
This is the one area that they're really well. Actually, it's one of the many areas now that they've got a clatter of South Africans in the pack, and they've got a lot of very talented wing options like Nemani Nandolo. Anybody? I didn't see the game against Northampton yet, but he's a bit of a scary
He's
proposition.
just a Fijian Dara Fanning.
Well, I tell you, he's probably has the proverbial turning circle of the QE2 if you get the ball in behind him, but
Probably as hard to stop as the QE2
he's
as
as
well.
hard to stop as the QE2 once he gets on. And he can play kick.
It's hard to know. Normally, I'd love to go to a French team the weekend after they've been beaten because they'd have given up. But the problem with Montpellier is there are very
Not
few
a
French
French
players
team,
in the
yeah.
team. So they have that, for want of a better phrase, Anglo-Saxon or Boer-Saxon work ethic.
But Dave, that's funny because last week when I was looking at the results in the top 14, that same trait still is there. You know,
Home
it's
and
the
away,
home and
yeah.
away thing, and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Like it's like how many French guys were in Toulon, and they still did this. They still kind of it's
They're still watching
acceptable,
Australian soaps.
but it's still acceptable within the club
To lose away.
to not really
Yeah.
give a monkeys about
Well,
winning their away games.
That's it. But the thing is, I mean, it's different for the top 14 because obviously it's a league competition as opposed to if you like a round robin for a cup, which is what we're in now. So French clubs do give up even at home in this competition.
Yeah.
But I don't think Montpellier will. So I think it's going to be a very, very, very difficult game. And like John said, if we could have one of them back, I think our front five is going to be the
You'll
key
have
to this
stand
game.
up, yeah.
Yeah. If our front five, to a certain extent, like I was saying about Connacht in part one, if our front five doesn't get broken, it can get bowed, it can get bent, it can get cracked. But if it stays intact to a certain extent,
It'll get bent if there's no Furlong.
oh, yes. But if it stays, if it doesn't get broken, then we've got a good chance of getting something out of this game. And even dare I say it, a win because I don't think Montpellier are anything special.
No, I don't think a win's out of the question. I think it's probably unlikely, but it's certainly not out of the question. We could just go over there and give them Leckery if all our stars align and all our players. Because apart from those two, Reece Ruddock is a fabulous player, but
Well, it's one.
with Sean O'Brien back,
It's the one area of the
We've
team
got
where we
so-
have ridiculous.
And
Exactly.
Jack Conan is back as well. That's another
Jack Coleman
another
back as
number.
well, yeah. So, we don't have any worries in the back row.
Jordy Murphy couldn't even get into the match day squad last week.
Well,
like.
there you go.
Well,
You know,
I think
and
he
it-
might have been rotated out. wasn't
I know,
he?
but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, we can afford to do that.
Exactly,
we can afford to leave a guy
but there's
like
that strength, and somebody's going to miss out this week. Whether it's O'Brien doesn't get into the match day or
Yeah.
Murphy, or you know what I mean. But there's going to be somebody that
We might do a 6-2 this week. I can see that because that's where where their strength is in their pack, and
I think that'll depend on Sexton, though, won't it? Like if Sexton's there, then they've got options. If they put Carberry on the bench, he can cover a number of positions.
exactly.
If it's quite young and callow. If you take Sexton out of that, you've got Carberry, you've got Marsh. I think
Very
they're-
true.
I don't think they'd put Marsh on the bench if Sexton wasn't there.
Maybe
I think
not.
they'd put Reid on the bench.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think, and they'd hope that there wasn't an injury to the out half because Reid can cover across the back line. To a certain extent. So it's going to be interesting because I don't think that if everyone was fit, I say we do have Furlong, I don't see the front five changing. Maybe
Might swap them around a bit.
they might swap them
They
around.
might
here,
also-
but okay, let me say I don't see the 6 front rows that played last week changing.
No.
No.
They might change the guys who start, and they might change the guys who
Yeah.
run on, but they'll all play.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
It'll be the old 80 minutes over 2 weeks thing.
Absolutely. But you never know what might happen with the second row. I mean, Mick Kearney could come in there.
Mike McCarthy might come back, would he?
I don't think he'd be match fit even if he was.
He's being
you know,
he's being
he's a
assessed.
foot injury.
Is he?
Yeah.
So I can't see him going. And just like Strauss, even if Strauss is ready, I can't see him going back into a European game.
No, maybe not.
And plus Tracy's in such good form.
I'd be quite happy if with the 2 boys who started as well, and then if we have an area, okay, the scrums we're hoping to survive. There's no reason why we can't dominate in the air.
Well, we beat up Cast. I'm not saying Montpellier and Cast have the same quality pack,
No,
but we beat up one French team. We can
let's beat up another.
Well, we can certainly compete with them rather than just a
Surviving.
typical Irish team going to go. We just channel
Well-
one ball and survive.
Well, we did it with probably playing Nagel and Toner, and playing Nagel and Toner, as you said earlier, takes the pressure off Cronin. It gives them another option, and whatever about the scrum, we'll park that. We can dominate them in the air if we have Nagel and Toner,
Yeah.
because they are excellent. That, and then you add in the rest of the guys. Okay, Ruddock is a great third option, but he's gone. But Jamie can be
He is
used as a
because-
third jumper.
yeah.
He isn't always because we have Ruddock, but he's a
Van der
very
Fleer,
useful third
Levy,
jumper.
they're all, they can all jump,
Or O'Brien if he plays.
John O'Brien as well, yeah. So we have that third. If you have three genuine options in the line out, it makes it very difficult for the opposition to
Yeah.
to mark up.
And Cast had a lot of very tall players in the for that kind of they should have been able to make a better fist of defensive lineouts and stuff like that. So if we can stand up to them in the lineout, I'd be because there's more lineouts than scrums in the game.
Yep.
There might be 8 or 10
Somebody I know
scrums
keeps
in a
saying
game.
that.
One question mark though hangs out there, and that is the scrum half. We had 3 scrum halves at the weekend. Like McGrath, yellow card aside, I thought he had a very good game against Munster and Aviva.
Mhm.
He certainly answered a lot of his critics, but I thought his standards dropped below where is acceptable in the match at the weekend.
He didn't have one of his better games, that's for sure. There's a couple of things like that. I don't know if we referred to that in the first half about the try. He
Butchered.
He butchered there with where he could have just dummied and gone straight, and he threw it to Carberry, who got a face full of full back, I think it was. He had a few in the fight. I counted 3 in the first half that he, were kind of passes to feet or whatever, and a couple more in the second half, which is too many, in fairness. have to say I still like him as a player. Some people are saying that you won't win the European Cup with him. Well, maybe you won't, but he might win a Pro 12.
Should people said that about Chris Whittaker?
Well, there you go.
No, they
People
didn't.
said that.
Chris Whittaker sat on the bench for 50 caps, but he was still the second best scrum half in Australia, and he just happened to be behind George Gregan, who was one of the best players that has ever played.
I
rugby.
thought Chris
Like
Whittaker was
Warren Gatland was behind.
Whittaker was a very, very good player. But I was and you thought he was a good player as well. We were in a minority in that position,
But
Jason.
there's a big
There's a lot of
difference
people
between
giving
Luke
it out,
McGrath. Dave, there's a big difference between Luke
Oh, I
McGrath.
know. I'm not saying Chris Whittaker, but what I'm saying is the things that have been said about them
I know,
we're
but-
not dissimilar. And I think that if you've got a situation where you've got, we have three scrum halves who are pretty much untried in the Northern Hemisphere. Because we've got McCarthy, we've got McGrath, and we've got Jamison Gibson Park. Now, Jamison Gibson Park has a certain amount of experience in Super Rugby, albeit in the armchair ride position. But I think it's trying to give him a go anyway, because I think that I think he's the kind of scrum half that would actually be the right scrum half for this game, regardless of how McGrath had played the previous week. I think Gibson Park is the kind of scrum half we're going to need in this game.
The home and away scrum half
yeah.
thing. So he could be the away scrum half. I can see that. Yeah, having Luke McGrath on the bench might be a bit of impact as well. Come on, because he'll mix it up. He's a different type of player. He might change the game a little bit.
He's obviously very highly thought of, because they
course.
made him captain for captain under 20s. He captained Leinster there a couple of weeks ago in, I can't remember the match it was, but it might have been the Ospreys, was it?
He's got the right stuff. It's just
There's an awful lot of.
it's like Sean Cronin and his throwing, or Ian Madigan and his kicking out on the full, or
But
he's a great rugby
scrum
player
halves
who
in Leinster are
has an issue with the basic, some of the basic
scrum
points of
halves
his
in
game.
Leinster are the anti-open sides. In Leinster, we hype the bejesus out of our open sides. In Leinster, we criticise the bejesus or over-analyse our scrum halves. Instead of just going, okay, this guy's, what age is he, 22?
24, I think.
Is he
yeah,
24?
yeah.
Oh, is he that old? Instead of just giving, okay,
Jude
this
was
guy's...
saying he has 50 Leinster caps.
Yeah, he has, yeah.
So,
Instead of going, okay, this guy's a young guy and he's developing. Let's just give him the space to do that. Okay, we have other. It's not like he's keeping an Irish international on the bench or a player who's proven world class on the bench. We're not losing per se anything by giving him every second game. So give him every second game. You never know. At the end of the season, we might actually have an international class scrum half because we haven't had one. We haven't produced one in Leinster in a long time.
yeah, that's true.
I agree. But if you have to do your basics,
Yeah.
and your basics is getting the ball from A to B, and under pressure in a big European Cup match, he didn't, or not as regularly as we would want. I thought, and especially, I can remember when we had them under pressure, he took the wrong option a number of times. There was large overlaps on the left hand side. I remember Nasiwa jumping up and down with his arms in the air, and he continually went right.
Well, my biggest criticism is you and I think have different opinions of what's the most important thing for scrum half. I think you'd be able to screw the pass, whereas I'd be more of a decision making kind of thing.
I wouldn't say that at all.
I'm happy enough.
Totally agree with you.
I'm happy enough once a guy's pass is functional. Which actually,
No arguments.
Which I think I don't think McGrath played particularly well. I don't think he played particularly badly either, and his pass dipped below the level of functional on Saturday. But the thing for me that's most important in scrum half is decision making, and his decision making I thought was poor. Obviously, in microcosm, that little pass to Carberry kind of encapsulated the whole thing. But there were other examples as well. And for a scrum half, you have to make the right choice, because the choice you make affects everything that happens afterwards.
Well, like I don't know where you got that, Dave, because I wouldn't be the passes to be all.
Maybe I thought Jim was still sitting beside me.
The passes to be an end all thing is if you're abdicating all responsibility to your out half, which is fair enough.
It's a way of playing the position.
It is a way of playing the position. But it's better if you have a decision maker at 9 and 10.
Yeah, but
For me.
if your scrum half takes all the momentum out of the ball,
Yeah, no, that's the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so, and I mean we've got you know, I think we're starting to get good backs again, back to the standard that we were used to for 10 or 15 seasons. And now the guys are starting. It took them a while to come through, and especially with Henshaw coming in there now, and Ringrose getting that extra year of experience. You've got either Carberry or Sexton playing outside. Use them and get the ball to them.
I think what Leinster want to do is Leinster want to recreate, the situation we had when we were in a pomp where we had Redden and Boss. And Leinster see these two guys, or two out of the three guys we have, as being our best chance of doing that. Whether they will or not, time will tell. But I think that's what they're going for.
Well, you know, East Tennessee, we could always move in.
But it shows
More ridiculous things have happened.
what an amazing, astonishing player East Tennessee is.
It really is.
I've seen him play this season. Flanker,
Yeah. Blindside.
scrum half,
Yeah.
fullback, and wing.
And he can play out half and centre.
Yeah, I mean he's
I
an
don't think he could take over from Mike Ross, but pretty much, you know,
Probably the only
outside the
couple of
tight five.
Yeah.
In fact, I'd nearly throw him in
No,
at
he'd say
hooker.
you could do a good job at hooker.
Yeah.
He is the best. I mean, I'm sorry, Felipe, but East Tennessee was the best foreign player to ever play for Leinster. Felipe might be the most beloved, but East is certainly the best.
I think, between the
Well,
two
he's
of
getting
them,
close anyway.
between the two of them
It's one
and
of
Ollie
them.
LaRue. Well,
Yeah.
Ollie LaRue was just sort of a cult hero.
Yeah,
for
he was a bit of a
couple
legend.
of seasons, but yeah, no, Issa is absolutely sensational. You know, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's the man. And the fact that he's lost a yard of pace is just highlights. It's a bit like Anthony Foley. Just highlights the rugby brain on the guy.
what he did was he used the energy he used to use on that pace to power even more brain cells.
Was it Beckenbauer originally? And I was thinking of this thing again.
Yes, it
in
was
con-
Beckenbauer.
In
He didn't
context,
start from
yeah, it's, you know, I'm not the fastest from A to B, but trick is I don't start from A. And you know, you can apply that to Foley or Nasewa of late. He just appears in the right place. And when he's playing scrum half, it was really highlighted how he can just appear in the right place and know how to do. You know, there's a job that he's not used to doing, but he's obviously watched people do it for years, and he can just slip in and do it. It's just, I don't know. Did he play scrum half?
The
when he was a
amazing
kid
thing
or
was
something?
that
No,
our,
here's the
our
difference.
play improved when he went there,
He certainly took the tempo up.
as opposed to when you do see a scrum half bin sin binned, you know, somebody else comes in, maybe a winger or something, and it's going, Jesus, very ponderous, slow. It actually improved it.
We only scored 5 tries, and I say only, but we could have we blew at least 3 more, at least 3 more. So the one we scored, the bonus point one we scored was when we had a man in the bin. So we'd 14 men. Luckily, one of them was Easton.
Well, this is, I mean, we often take the Mickey out
He
of John
scored
by,
the try.
by repeating the phrase, but the thing
Early
about
for the coming team.
no. The thing about East Tennessee is he's a Kiwi, and they have great basics. And and that's what he did. If you notice what he didn't do anything fancy. He just went in there and passed the ball away really quickly. That's all. Nothing fancy, just good technique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He was.
Awesome.
Well, we might come back to our match, but we just have a look at some of the other fixtures. Obviously, the Munster Glasgow game is scheduled to go ahead. Whether it will or not, I'm not sure. Presumably it will.
Munster Rugby are saying at this point in time. I mean, it's 9:30 on a Tuesday evening. At this point in time, Munster Rugby are saying that they are planning for the game to go ahead. So
You got to probably think it will. You just wonder if the whole effect will have a negative or a positive thing within the squad.
yes, people are different.
Could go either way.
People
yeah.
are different. People react different ways to external stimuli, for want of a better phrase, to tragedy. So we saw it with Ulster when they lost Nevin Spence. They were very careful actually not to keep going back to the emotional well. I don't like to use that phrase, but they were very careful not to do that because there's only so far you can. There's only so
go.
much you can take out of it before there's a certain
Do
amount
it
of.
for Axel, lads.
Yes, yeah.
It can only be said once.
You can,
Really.
yeah, you can really only do it 1 or 2 times. You know, you can't base a season around it. So and Munster aren't stupid. They're professional sportsmen. They know what they're doing. They'll obviously in the back of their head they want to do it for Axel, but it won't be a thing like.
You'd wonder how they're going to get a week's preparation in with just.
That's
where
going to
their
be the
heads
big
are gonna
problem.
be
I
at.
mean, even in things like
They're going to have to wing it. They're going to have to
Yeah.
just go out and play with the pride and the passion and go for it. And unfortunately for them,
Go up
Glasgow,
against the
Glasgow
antithesis of that.
know exactly what they're like. B are used to playing them at least twice a year, and C
Aren't
have
exactly
the,
scared
have
of
the
Thomond
game,
Park.
and they're not scared of Thomond Park, and they have the game to expose Munster's flaws, which
The problem is, I mean,
It's a
I,
bit
if
scary.
I were Munster Rugby, I'd be looking for a postponement, to be perfectly honest. Because, okay,
it'll put pressure on the rest
his,
of your season, though.
his removal is on Thursday. His funeral is on Friday. That gives you no preparation time.
So the
whatsoever.
players are going to be
Oh, yeah.
at the
At all,
at,
Yeah.
the, at the
Yeah.
at both.
at both, but the the removal will be in the evening,
Mhm.
so they can train on Thursday. But Friday pretty much is written
Yeah.
off, and then obviously the whole thing just leading up to it. And
Yeah.
it had happened on Sunday. They would have only been coming home, and all of the shock that
It's a
would have
tough
been
week.
Monday.
Yeah,
For everybody.
I would, if I were, I'm presuming Munster Rugby say that they're preparing for a game, but I think that they're preparing for a game at the weekend if they can't
Postponed.
apply for and receive
But-
a postponement.
But and I know different circumstances, but Glasgow had 2 games postponed last year.
Mhm.
One I think was weather, and one was the bomb in Paris.
Mhm.
So it's not unprecedented.
No,
that-
it's not. No.
No, it can be done, but it does put pressure on your season. But I just think, it's going to be such an emotional roller
Munster had a
coaster
postponement last
for
year.
everybody.
I think they had the game
was
in
a-
Paris.
A Paris-based game as well. Yeah.
So, I just think it's going to be very hard for them.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. There's no way they can win.
I do
Really.
I do think
I don't mean that in the sporting sense. I just mean it's just
it's a lose-lose.
it's a lose situation. I mean, they go out, they play, they win. So what? To a certain extent.
Well, life goes on. That's the
Yeah.
thing, and you just have to get on with it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but anyway, look, Ulster play Exeter. It's kind of a winner. Winner goes through, or sorry, winner
Loser goes
stays
home.
on.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it has to be said that Ulster and Ravenhill, and they're usually fairly hard to beat in Ravenhill.
If only Exeter had somebody who knew what it was like to play in Ravenhill. Oh, hold on a minute.
Yeah, well,
They
there's
have a few, don't they?
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
there's a whiff of desperation of them after being lashed at home
Yeah.
by Claremont. So that whiff of desperation might be enough to lift them or
Sink them.
sink them. We'll see. But they'll be concentrating on the Premiership if they lose, and Ulster will be concentrating on the Pro 12 if they lose. So it's a high stakes.
I'd say. I mean, Ulster are pretty good in Ravenhill. In Europe, they're. I'd say they've got a fairly decent record if we were to count it up.
I think Saracens will be the only people that have beaten them there recently.
I think both teams are kidding themselves though.
They're not going to get past Claremont.
Well, Connacht probably need a 5-pointer away to Zebre, and of course Zebre was the match that was postponed in September. Where kind of, I would say, really the turning point of their season, because it meant they were
they got
behind,
out of jail,
breathing
got out of
space.
jail, and they were behind, and now their season kind of kicked on a little bit since then.
Well, I'd say they're going to have to go there and score 5 points.
I'd
But
say they might need more than 5 points.
5 match points
Well, considering that Wasps put 80 on them,
on them. Yeah.
I think Connacht scored a bunch of points against them. Maybe not 80, but I'd say they'll get their 5 points out of it, their 5 match points out of it.
Yeah,
And
that keeps them in the hunt.
that keeps them in the hunt, because it doesn't matter how many tries they scored against them. If once they get their 5 points, if they can get something out of Wasps,
Mm-hmm.
if they can come out on top of the match points carve up between themselves and Wasps, assuming both teams do the same thing. I think where Wasps might have the event, I think Wasps might take a home bonus point against Toulouse. That would be my thing. That would be my big fear for Connacht.
I think it'd be very hard for Connacht to take more points off Wasps in the back-to-backs than Wasps take
No,
off.
I don't know. I don't think
You
so.
never know.
I think Connacht might go over there and get a losing bonus point in Waspania.
It's funny, I was the one that believed in Connacht last year, and you were kept putting them down.
This year I do.
Now it's
it's his
now
new
it's
team.
swung around.
It's his new favourite team.
Yeah, it really isn't. My other favourite team disgraced themselves on Thursday night, but I'm sure we'll come to that.
Or maybe not.
I think Wasps could get a losing bonus point against I think Connacht are capable of taking losing bonus points against Wasps in Coventry. It's a very hard sentence to say that. I also think they're capable of winning by 8 points in Galway.
Mm.
I genuinely believe that.
Capable,
But
yes.
I think that the one that might, like Ulster's losing, not getting that try bonus point in France last year. I think the one that might do for Connacht is not getting a try bonus point against Toulouse this year in Galway, because I don't think Toulouse are very good at all.
Well, with the Zebra in the group, you're going to have to reckon that a second place qualifier is going to come out.
Yeah, well, that's true.
So
There is that.
Connacht could easily come out. They'll have an away match in the quarterfinals, but they could easily come out of that group even if they don't
Yeah,
take Wasps to the cleaners.
well, no, that's a very
Or
good
the
point.
woodshed.
Because with the Italian team, it does give them the
Yeah, they bit of an advantage. Cast and Saints, that's a bit of an odd one, I think, because if Cast lose that game, and admittedly it is at home, their participation in the tournament is pretty much kaput.
and I don't think they'll mind.
And okay, that's fine. But then what happened? There's ramifications then, because they have a back-to-back with Montpellier.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't give a fiddler, so they lost 2 of their games, so they just walk away from it. Montpellier pile up the points in
The
the.
pharmaceutical sugar daddy who bankrolled Cast passed
Pierre
away.
Fabre.
Yeah,
Yeah.
passed away. The terms of the foundation he set up, the trust fund he set up to continue bankrolling the club, are that they will get 10 million euros per year from the fund whilst they're in the top 14.
So there you go. QED.
They're sunk if they get demoted.
Yeah.
Well,
So
they're
Well,
only
they
interested in top 14.
they're only
then.
interested in top 14 from now on. This is it. They've
Well,
had
don't
their
forget,
fancy
like-
day out in the sun.
But like, I presume you've been over to Cast, John. I certainly, when I was there, it's quite a small town. Like, the
Yes, it
population
is.
base is quite small, and
Yes.
they're really boxing above their weight when you consider that
It's a tiny town.
it's a tiny little town.
40,000.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and when you consider that they're
It's like
you know
Clonetty.
just 2 clubs
In the
from
sun.
Paris,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a city of 8 million. There's, you know, one of the biggest cities to lose. Has
Sure,
a team.
Marseille can't get a team into the
Mm-hmm.
top 14, and they've been trying for
Yeah.
years through by hook or by crook.
Mm-hmm.
And a tiny little town like Castres
And
can't.
it's a similar situation with Brits, and Brits eventually had to kind of succumb because
Mm-hmm.
it's, you know, I think it has a population in the summer of 80,000 and a population in the winter of 40,000. So, do you know what I mean? Another very small little enclave of rugby, but they just can't compete with the big boys.
No.
Mm. Who can?
Well, one fixture that I think looks fairly tasty is Tigers against Racing. I know Tigers were beaten, and obviously we don't really know how Racing are going to go, but they
Cam
are.
Carter got the all
all
clear
clear,
from the
yeah.
FF4 there yesterday.
I find it very hard to think the Tigers are going to come by another at home and another full of pride and passion and all that stuff, but I find it hard to see them come back and beat a Dan Carter inspired Racing, who are going to be they're well rested anyway. They've got a week to get over their niggles and they'll be dying to play. So
Yeah.
because they went to the stadium on Sunday, because they didn't the RFU didn't want, they wanted to inform everybody in Ireland before they actually let the news out at all, which is fair enough. The team arrived in the stadium to play the game, so they'll be itching to go, and I see them wiping the floor with the Tigers, to be fair. Don't know what you guys think.
I would agree with that.
Well, anyway, boys, as ever, thanks a million, and thanks very much for watching. Cheers.